It's Az from Heel vs. Babyface. What a great guy. I'm sure he's gonna tell us something inspiring about the Marvels and how they're doing.
The Marvels just set a brand new MCU record. For all the wrong reasons. It's the lowest opening of any Marvel Cinematic Universe movie. Look at my shot.
Who would have expected that? I know. Shocking.
Face. Look at my shot face.
Yeah.
Hi everyone, it's Az here from Heel vs. Babyface. Yesterday, we got the weekend box office for the opening of The Marvels, a movie so anticipated by pretty much nobody whatsoever. A movie that had its opening weekend pushed back 4 to 5 times. A movie that's first cut was over 2 hours long and immediately sent to the editing bay. A movie whose next cut was about 1 hour and 45 minutes that went right back to the editing bay. A movie that's final cut ended up being 88 minutes of runtime because, as the Disney executives themselves said, skate quick over thin ice, i.e. this is absolute garbage, get as least out of it as possible and get it over.
We are so past the point where movies are short that just the fact that this movie can't even cut 1.5 hours is kind of the most honestly insane thing ever. Because let's be real, that also includes the, ending reels. What are they called? The ending credits. There we go, that one. This is insane. This is the disaster of unseen proportions. If you thought the original Captain Marvel with my wonderful wife Brie Larson was bad, also don't don't talk bad about my future wife. Yeah, then this is even worse. Okay, if you thought that was bad, this is just breaking all expectations. It honestly is. We're setting a new standard here for bad. Okay? Rings of Power, move aside. Velma, eat a dick. She-Hulk, what's even a She-Hulk?
Over and done with to minimize the damage. Well, that's been reflected in the opening weekend box office. The film opened to a meager, and I do mean meager, based off the fact that its budget is somewhere in the region of 300 million plus. A meager.
Disney is probably lying about that. That budget is probably more than 300 million plus. Plus, that's not even accounting for the marketing. Or wait, did this movie even have marketing? I'm not sure.
$47 million domestically and only 110 worldwide, with 63 of that coming from the international audience. This plants it firmly as the biggest failure in the MCU. Rock.
Incredible Hulk 2008. I'm surprised people even went to see that. The Ant-Man. Oh boy. Captain America, the First Avenger. Oh, wow, that was actually that bad, huh? Thor and the Eternals. Wow, the Eternals actually made some money almost. That is crazy.
Bottom, with the next movie being The Incredible Hulk.
Well, admittedly, the Thor 2001 movie was shit, so kind of expected.
Which came out in 2008 with a 55.4 million opening weekend. Adjust that for inflation, and you see that this film is set adrift far from anyone. This is catastrophic. And yet,
adjusting for inflation, that's probably like 30 mil. Wow.
So very, very expected at the same time. To really rub salt in the wound, let's have a look at Captain Marvel back in 2019. You know, the movie that organically did $1.1 billion, and that had nothing to do with the fact that it was sandwiched between Infinity War and Endgame, with the end credit scene in Infinity War pushing the fact that you needed to see this movie to get what was going to happen in Endgame. And after, of course, this movie came out, Brie Larson's role as Captain Marvel was substantially reduced in Endgame because of it.
Sad. My wife could have handled that. she would have been great. She would have actually made a comeback there.
Brie Larson herself contributing massively to this by opening a big fat mouth and alienating what the target audience actually was, not who Disney want to pretend their audience is. But you gotta couple that with the fact that Captain Marvel, Carol Danvers' version, isn't a popular character. Since getting rebooted by Kelly Sue DeConnick, the character's book has been cancelled multiple times. And no matter how many times Marvel reboot it and stick issue 1 on it and put it out there and have it fail and then say, well, actually it was only a mini series, but then reboot it again and have it fail and reboot it and have it fail, it's not gonna.
This is funny because this is not only the story of Captain Marvel, this is the story of Kamala Khan, whatever. A lot of this garbage. And the best part is that they're making the whole MCU about this. Kamala Khan is also going to be a main stage superhero. And she's horrible. No one likes her. I mean, she has this small smidgen of maybe she's not the most horrible creature in the universe. But at the same time, it's just such a small smidgen. It's not going to compensate for everything bad about her. And this is what they're going to do. Have you heard about the new Avengers? Wait, is he maybe going to talk about this? Doesn't seem like it. But yeah, there's this new Young Avengers theme or something. And Kamala Khan is going to be there. Kang or whatever her name is. She's going to be there. And a bunch of other shit is going to be there. And hopefully their mentor is going to be Brie Larson and Spectre. Because, you know, that's lovely and everything, right? Yeah, that would be absolutely amazing. Oh, maybe Valkyrie from Thor. Yeah. Yeah, she also probably fits that in perfectly. Dude, the Marvel Cinematic Universe is just going to self-implode even harder in the upcoming years. Because you can't base movies around things that people hate. Okay? That's a recipe for disaster. I know it sounds shocking, but it is.
Make this the new Marvel Superman. Nobody is gravitating towards this character. Marvel pushing this character as their big one isn't working, never will work. Do you know why?
Yes.
Because it's the fan who speaks on this, not the corporation. It's the fan that decides whether or not they purchase these products, not the corporation. And if you want to keep pushing it and losing money, that's your own prerogative. But to compare to the Marvel,
well, they are pushing it and losing money. That's the funniest part.
Captain Marvel in 2019 did an opening weekend domestically of 153.5 million. So the Marvels is 3 times under that. There is no audience for this because the MCU became the MCU. Disney took all their huge properties, Star Wars, Indiana Jones, and the MCU, and turned them into princess brands, actually alienating a...
They didn't turn them into princess brands. If they were princess brands, the movies would probably be at least watchable. Like, you know, a good princess story is fine. I see nothing wrong with that. But they're not even princess brands. They're just empowered he-woman, you know, stories that are kind of lame. My biggest complaint about everything that Marvel is doing is not the fact that they're, you know, ruining the characters. It's not the fact that they're making stories shitty. It's the fact that they're literally representing every woman in this stupid universe as a man, okay? Every woman in every Marvel movie has more in common with men than women, okay? And then you have some dudes who have more in common with women than men. It's like, it's disgusting.
Vast majority of who the actual audience was. But if you thought that comparison was unfair, let's now compare it to a couple of monumental flops at the box office this summer. The first being The Flash, which only did 266.5 million.
Dude, I love The Flash. You know, Warner Brothers was looking at the situation and saying, our main movie star is most likely a playground enthusiast. a cult leader hated by virtually everyone on the planet. Let's double his role. Let's add one more Ezra Miller to the show, because that's probably gonna solve the issues that one Ezra Miller creates. How about we double it? Maybe it cancels itself out some magically. How? Well played. Well played. Yeah, and this is the result.
Worldwide. But what did that open up to domestically? Well, it opened to 55 million, which is actually 8 million more than the Marvels has. And we saw what a colossal drop-off this movie had, and it had a comparable budget of around the 300 million mark. You have to understand, folks, that means a movie's got to hit somewhere in the region of 750 million to 800 odd million just to break even. Yep. Never mind make a profit. So of course these movies are losing hundreds of millions of dollars for their respective studios. And honestly, I would watch The Flash over the Marvels any day of the week. At least with The Flash, there's some scenes there which I thought were fine or okay or tolerable, or a couple of them were actually good. But the Marvel...
Then Ezra Miller at full speed sniffed the line. He's talking about those scenes.
Is just a mitigated dog shit. And unlike something like Guardians of the Galaxy, which did have a very weak opening,
the Flash was running in a tunnel, and it was the cool, this type of motion. And in the middle of the tunnel, there was a line. Oh yeah, and he was like, "Yeah, that's my Flash, boys."
First weekend, the word of mouth spread about that film.
But it's okay, he's Barry Allen, the fastest man alive, who usually forgets that he's the fastest man alive, so, that kind of sucks.
And it actually ended up having really good legs. Unfortunately for Disney Marvel, people have now seen the Marvels, and because it is a mitigated dog shit, I think this is going to fall even further off the cliff, and we could see an absolutely catastrophic worldwide box office by the time this is finished. I think it'd be lucky to hit somewhere in the region of 350 to 400 million. And then taking Indiana Jones and the Dialysis of Destiny, a film again with a 300 million plus budget, which bombed spectacularly, only doing 381 million worldwide, opened up domestically to a weekend of $60 million. 13.
Okay, the thing you also need to understand about these box office thingamablooppies is, well, you see, this number gets lower and lower and lower and lower and smaller proportionately, because everyone watches typically a movie in the first week, okay? If it gets released on the weekends, which I'm assuming it is, because this is Friday, Saturday and Sunday. When I know that he's actually looking this up. When I go there, it doesn't actually show me is it a workday or not. Interesting. In pink, but you get the point, right? These things are just gonna get smaller and smaller as increases until the next weekends, when there's gonna be again a slight boost, because not everyone can make it in the first weekend. So the second weekend is also a bigger boost, but after that it just completely typically collapses. I mean, there's also almost a complete collapse right here, as you can see, from 72 to 83. That's an increase of 9. Then this is an increase of 6, which is pitiful, and this is 5. And then you can see here it's you can't actually see. You can see here it's from 125 to 128, and that's pretty much almost it. That is pretty much almost it. The increases are so small.
Million more than the Marvels has managed to do in theirs. It'll come as no surprise as mainstream media start to have a meltdown. Copium sessions all over the world are beginning to take effect. Here we have somebody saying, any reporting on hashtag the Marvels box office that doesn't mention the fact that its stars were on strike and unable
Stars were on strike. What does that even make a difference to?
to promote it at all is incomplete and irresponsible at best. Promotional materials have immense
Irresponsible, you say? Okay.
value. That stuff helps build movie-going experiences now. Now, this is from a member
This is a 1 out of 10 parter. Wow. Wow.
of the mainstream media, which is desperately trying to cope with the fact that they no longer have the influence to push the narrative and push people into cinemas. The way that this film was always going to be marketed was exactly what we saw. 3 diverse female leads fighting against a
3, it's too much. You just needed one my wife, and it would have been fine. She alone could have carried this, okay? Brie Larson is the only star necessary for that.
diverse female villain written by 3 diverse women and directed by a diverse
I'm pretty sure we're not supposed to say that the lead villain was a diverse female of color. I'm pretty sure we're still supposed to refer to her as a white male, just to be on the safe side.
woman. That was always going to be the way that it was promoted, and with Brie Larson's track record.
Also, don't forget the fact that the diverse female evildoer is essentially promoted as female Thanos, which is not true, but I'm still calling her female Thanos because it sounds better.
Sticking a very ugly feet in it, the likelihood is it would have done the film even more damage. The fact that they couldn't speak as I reply probably helped the movie, not hindered it in the slightest.
That would also be my honest take on that matter. Because, okay, imagine they start to speak. Okay? Listen, if you're a white male, we don't need you. If you're not a white male, we still don't need you. This is what only women of color between the ages of 0.69 and 69. Everyone else, you're illegal. Also, if your age is 13, 17, 25, and 32 to 35, you're also not necessary. That's what they probably would have unironically done.
The strike didn't have any effect on Oppenheimer. The strike didn't have any effect on Barbie.
True.
But somehow it now has an effect on the Marvels. Bullshit. Also, the strike's now over.
Remember when Blizzard said that it was COVID's fault that their games weren't doing well during the pandemic? You remember when Blizzard tried to blame the thing that made everything better for every other company except themselves in performance numbers? Yeah, this is essentially the same thing. The writers' strike is just making movies better because the writers suck. None of them deserve even a living wage, okay?
So they can stick microphones in front of all their faces now until their heart's content. The problem is people have seen the movie and the damage is already done. This little clip coming from Nerdrotic, but even Grace Randolph, Shell extraordinaire and admirer of John Cena's package, has decided that the MCU is the MCU.
Now, I'm sure you've heard the term MCU. It's being used by some fan community.
Who is this, by the way? I have no idea. Grace Randolph. I'm gonna look into that.
And yes,
Not because she's my kind of nasty. No. This purely professionalism, boys. Relax.
the term is extremely offensive, but it's also becoming undeniably true.
How can something be undeniably true and offensive at the same time? It can't. It's just simply undeniably true and something that's been called for so very long now by the very people have been vilified by people like you. And Chris Gore subscribed to Film Threat, says it absolutely perfectly here. Turning Marvel and Star Wars into girl brands will prove to be one of the costliest decisions in entertainment history. Or is that herstory, Chris?
Herstory, yeah.
Never mind just the MCU. A lot of entertainment today is missing a huge contributing factor to success. Masculinity. Masculinity isn't just something that...
What do you mean? These women have plenty of masculinity. You literally can see them leaking testosterone every time they do something. Now this is an L opinion, obviously. The current MCU does not in any way suffer from any lack of masculinity, which is actually the problem.
That men bring to the table, it's something that a female audience also desires from their masculine characters. To try and dismiss femininity is also something which is harming film goers as well. Women are being deprived of being women, and men are being deprived of being men, all in the name of intersectional identity politics by a group of broken people, and also probably the scummiest, disgusting, hypocritical pieces of crap on the planet,
Well
aka
said.
Hollywood. Nobody is shedding any tears whatsoever for this disaster in the box office from the Marvels.
I am. I want to see more Brie Larson. I would lick her back.
What people are really more likely interested in is seeing how bad it's gonna get. But don't worry, I'm sure Warner and DC are just waiting in the wings to take advantage of this. Coming soon, Aquaman 2. Hi, Chihuahua.
Ah, man. That's gonna be great. Aquaman 2 is gonna be spectacular. Mark my words, boys. Mark my words. Oh, yeah.
I'll see you in the next video. You take care. Bye.
That was Heel vs. Babyface. As always, an amazing video. Good points on everything. But, man, he had to mention Warner's, man. All that those losers at Warner Brothers need to do is at least attempt a semi-reasonable Vertigo series. That's it. That's all they need to do. John Constantine, After Dark, fucking Vertigo. Let's go, boys. Let's go. That would dude, if that would even succeed 50%, it would absolutely crush the MCU, honestly. Especially now that there's nothing to crush almost left, you know? But yeah, it's like, dude, John Constantine is the best character of fiction ever created, probably. Okay? Not gonna lie, boys. Not gonna lie. He fucking spits on Superman for being a weak fucking pleb. He takes out gods, and Batman literally licks his asshole anytime he says, I have a plan. Okay? It's good. It's good. Anyway, that was a great video again. Well played. Subscribe to this channel. Because reasons. Anyway, this was also... Oh, actually, you couldn't see it. Bip, bip. There we go. This was Quizzer Sen. Thanks for watching. Subscribe if you haven't already, and have a nice day. Bye-bye.